Just when I thought I didn't really have a solid topic for today's video, this little gem of pseudo-intellectualism falls right in my lap. Now, normally I have to do a multi-part, lengthy, deep, series on what's wrong with a particular feminist frequency video. But this one is going to be real easy. This is like a 10,000 YouTube subscriber gift from Feminist Frequency to me. The great thing about this 5 ways men can help end sexism video is you don't have to watch it. Conceptually, it is a problem. Not just problematic, it is a problem. I'm sure it is well intentioned. But you don't have to watch this video. And why? Because it's a man speaking about sexism allegedly on behalf of women. It's a man telling other men to listen to women. It's a man telling other men to be patient with women. It's a man telling other men to don't get defensive with women. And what this is it's still a man controlling the dialogue with other men. Now, that's not the thinking behind this video. The thinking behind this video is the male ally theory in feminism. And like I said, it's well-intentioned. The problem is it really doesn't work. When you've got men, and the internet would call this white knighting, but I'm just going to say when you have men in this allies role and they stand up and speak for women, they are still speaking for women. And this is the fundamental problem with our male-dominated media, especially in this sphere, in this cockamamie leftist sphere. And by cockamamie leftist, I don't mean all leftist thought, the people out there digging wells and feeding the hungry. Good on you. Keep going. You're actually doing good for society. Now, what happens when men keep talking to men about women? Well, women can't get a word in edgewise, can we? And this happens again and again and again and again in the gaming media. Men are speaking to a presumed male audience about women. Guess where that puts us, ladies? Tape over the mouth. We don't get to talk because the boys are all trying to show what great male allies they are, and they're sucking up all the oxygen. And the thing I love about this is this says, this video is created as a bonus stretch goal promised to the backers of our Tropes versus Women in Video Games Kickstarter. I don't think the people who backed the Tropes versus Women Kickstarter wanted videos with Jonathan McIntosh talking. I think they wanted videos with Anita Sarkeesian talking. He's the one that claims this is a problem, but it's another white man talking about something to do with games that doesn't balance the scales at all. And you can make lists of 5 ways men can help end sexism, 10 ways men can help end sexism, 15 ways men can help end sexism. There's only one way to really end, and end is the wrong word, because you can't end malice in the human heart, okay? Legitimate, core, angry misogyny, you're never going to completely wipe out. You may be able to change the systems that enable it. I shouldn't say maybe. You can change the systems that enable it, but you can't wipe out darkness in people's hearts. Some people are just going to be pieces of crap no matter what we do. What we need in gaming is let women speak. It's really that simple. It is really that simple, guys. I'm living proof. When I started off, people called me every name. They called me a fake geek girl. They called me a shill. They called me, some sort of spy. It was really weird. But it didn't start off as this welcome, young flower, to the meadows of gaming. It didn't start that way. I got a really rough ride. So what has to happen is people like me have to go in and we have to take those lumps. Because, we're standing by our theory that there is sexism in the games industry. And to be clear, I'm not saying it's a specific gaming problem. It's a human problem that happens to be in gaming as well, okay? It's in pretty much every entertainment media for various reasons that we're not going to get into today because that's not the topic. But as I have spoken, as I have built my following, things have changed. And people have started to see me as a person and a mind and a voice in my own right. And that's because I just kept going. And that is the only way to end sexism in the video games industry. To put women on the mic and to put women on the stage and to put women on that console and that PC and that dev kit and that demo station. And that marketing campaign and that flyer and that trade show and. The only way we are going to overcome this imbalance that everybody seems to think is a horrible thing is by adding more women to the equation and rebalancing the norms. It's now people are like, well, my merit has become my feels. It's the new my feels. My merit. There are plenty of qualified women out there. Trust me, I'm one of them. Okay? Oh, God, it would be nice if guys like Jonathan McIntosh actually promoted women that weren't his girlfriend. If he's really sincere about ending sexism in the games industry, where is he promoting other women? Why is he recommending books instead of promoting women in games? We are not going to get where we need to go by continuing to let men like Jonathan McIntosh speak on behalf of women in gaming. We are damn capable of speaking for ourselves. And thanks to guys like this, we're not being denied the mic. We're being shoved off the mic. Where's Anita? Where the hell is Anita? You know, for all my disagreements with her, I respect her because she's going out there and she's doing it and she's doing her thing and she's speaking her mind and she's another woman contributing to video games. That she has, and that will never be taken away from her. Same for Lee Alexander, same for Zoe Quinn, and, you know, same for Jade Raymond, same for Amy Hennig, same for all the women actually working in games. And every time one of these sensitive leftist males goes off on this topic, well, the topic's been covered for the foreseeable future, hasn't it? In the number of articles I have been told, well, we want to get away from that topic after the white male editor that rejected my piece wrote the piece himself. So these guys who are claiming to be big champions of women are actually denying us a voice, denying us column space, and denying us work. Now, in gaming, treating somebody like an equal is not always a nice or clean thing. It tends to be loud and messy. But when you actually drill down and you actually understand gaming culture, that pushback, as much as it is sort of a hazing ritual, is a bizarre form of respect that if you want to succeed in gaming, you have to see it for what it is. You have to start thinking like a gamer. And people immediately rebel on that and go, oh, misogyny, gaming, misogyny. We've equated gaming with misogyny, and it's just not true. In any sort of group that isn't, you know, I'm trying not to use words like privilege and oppression, but any group that isn't top of the food chain, there's these myths about the men in that group that tend to be these, you know, violent, sexually deviant people who are going to come in and take our women and harm our nice little white women. And that's the thinking. That is the thinking embedded in the idea that men have to speak for us because we will be captured like Princess Peach and Bowser and taken away to something, and then they will have to save us, but they're gonna, you know, get around all that by speaking for us first. That's the thinking. And no matter how they try to work around it, that is the thinking. You can make all the videos in the world. If you, from a position of privilege, are not creating opportunities and jobs and forums for women, you are not ending the sexism you claim is a problem. We need to take the fear out of the equation. We need to take the lofty rhetoric out of the equation. We need to take the idea out that we still need guys like Jonathan McIntosh to solve our fucking problems for us. We can succeed as long as we're given that chance. We can make great product. It's just different product. We can make product just as good as some guy game designer. It's just going to be somewhat different. Why? Because we have different life experiences and, they're telling their stories and that's great. We should tell our stories and that's great too. It's just that simple. And we can do that if that door is opened, if we're given that desk and that job and that access to resources. Why did we lose people like Jane Jensen and Roberta Williams? Have we asked that? Maybe, there's something structural about the industry that doesn't reject women. It rejects anybody who wants work-life balance. Maybe there's more to that. And, the more research that comes out, and that's that whole thing about, well, women want other things out of a job. I bet there's a lot of men who want those things out of a job too. They want to spend time with their kids. They want to be more family focused. They don't feel empowered by society to make those decisions. Some companies will have more women than men. Some companies will have more men than women. There will be some companies that are 100% female. There are some companies that will be 100% male. But across the entire industry, we should not be seeing the imbalances we see now. It doesn't make any sense based on the research. And that's the problem. And videos like this pandering collection of platitudes don't do a damn thing to get one more woman into this industry because it's still a male face and it's still a male voice and it's still a white male perspective. And my solution sounds really messy. It sounds really hard and it sounds really time consuming and consuming a lot of energy, and it sounds like it's gonna be not the most pleasant thing in the world. Guess what? Real change isn't easy and it's slow. And I am confident enough in my fellow women in the tech industry and the video games industry. I am confident in other women as creative and business professionals. I am confident enough in them as individuals and us collectively that I think that if all we get is a fair chance and fair access to opportunity, you will see the numbers climb. I truly believe that the numbers in gaming right now are unnaturally suppressed. Suppressed is not the same as oppressed. And I'm not talking about these things about, 32% of gamers are women. No, I'm not talking about that. We're not even at the 30% level. We're not talking about parity. We're nowhere near parity. We're trying to get out of the single fucking digits in some places. And I've said this in other videos. It's not that a gap exists. It's the size of the gap that gives me pause. I'm not asking for 50-50 parity in 5 years. I'm not asking for that. Because year to year, it will fluctuate. And it's important to keep track of these numbers. But, we don't need 100% 50-50 parity. No industry has that. And that's something we have to start thinking about. We have to start thinking about, employee burnout, which affects a ton of guys. But like I said, guys aren't empowered to talk about that. It's funny because in the past year and a bit, the two men that have helped me the most have both been right wingers. And that's, oh my God, how is this even possible? They hate women. Well, we have to start doing rethinking. Strangely, right wingers, these particular ones anyway, can see potential in individual women and the individual quality of our work. And they read our stuff and go, well, that's an interesting perspective. I don't agree, but you're very good at this. I don't agree with everything, but you made me think. And that is more productive. That is getting more women into the industry than videos with men lecturing other men about how to end sexism against women. I know he doesn't understand how condescending it is to see a list and hear men tell other men to listen to us, because the only way, it's just like anything. It's game theory, okay? Let's treat this as a video game, okay? We are starting at level 1. We're only level 1. I swear I didn't deliberately make it look like I was picking his nose with the cursor there. Let's start at level 1 in a game, okay? We're low powered. How do we level up? How do we get XP in this letting women speak thing? Do we read a book? Do we read the game manual? No, that doesn't earn us any XP. Do we wander around and not engage in a single encounter? No, that never earns us any XP unless, we discover new areas which give us more women to talk to. Well, then we might earn some XP because we've actually done something of note. But running around in a circle saying, listen to women, listen to women, listen to women, don't get defensive, listen to women. Is that earning us any XP? No. We're just reading the same dialogue prompt over and over and over again. The way you earn XP is to go into that first basement or that first dungeon and, the game metaphor is take on a couple of giant rats or rad roaches or whatever goblins, low level, encounter you want to talk, you want to do. In this case, it's having a single conversation with a woman on Twitter about a neutral subject. Doesn't have to be, it can be, what games do you like? Oh, I like these games. And if you have a positive experience there, you level up and you get less defensive. Telling somebody be less defensive doesn't freaking work. The way somebody becomes less defensive is they become more secure, and they become more secure by having positive experiences. And you can't have positive experiences unless you take the plunge and attempt the experience in the first place. So, at level 2, we've earned some XP, got a few new talent perks. We've opened up our talent tree a little bit. Then we can start wading in to, say, a particular issue. Say the female characters in a particular game, preferably a small one, because if you have to deal with 6 female characters, it becomes huge, right? But if you can talk about this one character, and instead of needing to be right, because that's a problem with geeks, we get really, this isn't a man thing, this is a geek thing, okay? Because this is something I had to work on very hard myself too, because, I got picked on physically. I couldn't run as fast as other people. I couldn't jump as high, but I was smart, and that was my thing. And so when you're wrong about something, it feels like your world is crumbling because that's the only thing that you really feel society values in you. So by the time you've had, 6 or 7 or 8 pleasant, stimulating, positive conversations, then you can get into the debate. You can start taking on those level 35, level 40 encounters. And the problem right now with this whole debate on anything in gaming, whether it's race or gender or even something as simple as, DRM or DLC, people are trying to take on level 35, level 40 encounters when they're a level 3 character. And then they wonder why they get their asses handed to them. So here we have it, the RPG model way of ending sexism in gaming. We level up the good old-fashioned way by earning experience, collecting tools, collecting armor, and I won't call them weapons because people are like, oh, let's get women. That's not the metaphor I'm talking about. We're looking at the ideas. We're looking about the thinking in our own heads, the whatever that thing is that causes you to flip out in a given situation. That's what we're trying to winnow down, right? Because it really is. I mean, it really is all about our own reactions on the internet. And so everybody deserves a second chance after their first screw up online, because we all do it. It is so easy to say something that in retrospect you realize came out completely the wrong way or got completely misconstrued because people didn't see the 3 tweets before it and the 2 after it, right? But we have to be more forgiving, and we have to have those save points and those save files and those respawn opportunities, or else no one's going to want to play this game because it's just not fun and we're not getting anywhere. And this is why game design theory is so important. It's important in social interactions. It's important in business. It's an easy way to understand interactions and how to get better at things. If you look at things like a game, then suddenly the steps you have to take are easy to understand because games have conscious design in them. And when you start thinking about life the way you think about a game, from that conscious design approach, I mean, this is what people with MBAs do. They create plans. They create a structure for a business. And then, life coaches and psychiatrists and social workers create plans. They create structure for your personal encounters. It's no different than designing a video game in terms of you have to have a difficulty curve. You have to have a sense of achievement as well as a sense of challenge, so you'll continue to progress. And there have to be things that keep you engaged along the way. There have to be things that are interesting and fun and enjoyable on the voyage. It can't just be a constant wave of enemies coming at you with no time to reload. And when we start thinking about this, all of a sudden everything seems really simple, doesn't it? And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there right now going, it can't be that simple. Well, guess what, guys? It is. Because I spent years in therapy when I was a teenager and it didn't do a damn thing for me. I spent years floundering around reading business books and things like that, and it didn't do a damn thing for me because I'm a gamer. And it was when I started applying game theory to everything else, suddenly the world makes sense. Why? Just like I'm an introvert, I'm a gamer. That's the lens I see the world. If you can put something in a Dungeons and Dragons metaphor for me, I understand it. And it doesn't have to be Dungeons and Dragons. That's my language. Your syntax can be Halo or Call of Duty or Gears of War or Little Big Planet or whatever. Whatever metaphors work for you are the ones you need to engage to sort of get in there and get over your own baggage so that you can start listening and hearing other people. And the platitudes in this video don't do a damn thing to address that.